Hello, St. Andrew. I'm back with another thought and devotion, still having to do with primarily with the election season. And I've given it the title Indivisible, which is a word that has deep resonance for us as Americans. But the biblical story, I'm not going to read it for you. Reflecting here on 1 Kings chapter 3, verses 16 to 28. It's a little long and frankly tragic and also a little bit too much the stuff of like daytime television. So I'm going to summarize it for you. But just to preface it, it is a interesting story of Solomon, King Solomon. And I remember reading this as a fourth grader after I'd been presented my Bible in worship and the first like full text Bible I'd been given. I went home and I read a whole bunch of it over the next weeks and months, and this is one that stuck with me, and honestly has been kind of haunting me for the last year as it relates to our, particularly to our civic life. And I don't totally know what to do with that, other than I'm going to hand it to you and let it bother you, and let you turn it over maybe as a kind of a parable. But what happens in the story? It's in the time of King Solomon, who's known for his wisdom. God offered to grant him whatever he wished as king and what he asked for is wisdom, and God is pleased by that. So two women come before him. They live together, and they both gave birth around the same time to sons. But then one of the babies dies. And one woman claims that what happened is that it's actually the other woman's baby who died during the night, and that she then switched them. So what's the question before the king is, which one is the real mother? Well, Solomon evidently has a flair for the dramatic because he asks that a sword be brought into the courtroom and suggests that the fair thing would be to divide the living baby. To which one of the mothers cries out, "No, don't let anything happen to that baby." And of course, Solomon knows that's the real mother. Because of this love that she has for the baby. Well, maybe you've already guessed why this story has been going around and around in my head. It's easy to say we love our country. But do we love it like this mother? Does that love have content that we do not want to see this country we love divided? And mostly I'll let you just kind of tease that out. I'm not saying that there's not ever a time we would risk division. We do, and we're sometimes called to risk division, but division on what level? And I think the main thought is, never cavalierly, never without deep thought about how and why and how much division we're willing to risk. I think especially in our language, we have not been careful for some time now. And that, obviously can have consequences. I remember a wise man once saying that every marriage will have arguments, and every argument, if it progresses far enough, will reach the point where you don't want to have to take back what you are about to say. And suggested that would be a good time to stop arguing for a while. I say that in jest, but of course we know that some arguments pass that point, and then there is sometimes a tipping point where those folks are no longer able to trust each other, and so on, and the relationship breaks down, and it is not then indivisible in the way that it was meant to be. So I just encourage you to think about that in the context of this story, almost as a parable that Solomon's able to tell. That Solomon's wisdom is knowing how much the real mother loves this baby, and that love is expressed in, even though I might not get to have the baby, I want it to live and be undivided. And I say this also, as an allegory for our country and our civic life. But there's another baby that comes to my mind, one that I've been caring for over a decade and have deep feelings about, and that is our fellowship and our congregation. Um, and here, mostly, I just would want to give thanks because I think uh, the members of St. Andrew also see that this is a precious thing we have, this fellowship, and that we love it. Something like this mother loves her baby, and we would not want to see it divided. And so there's some wisdom, and I've seen that. That we may have very strong feelings about political issues and candidates and all kinds of other things too, but we aren't going to let it divide us in ways that would rupture our fellowship. Um, so I'll add that word of thanks for the wisdom again that I see and the thoughtfulness. And like I said, this story has been going around and around in my head, so now the ball's in your court. All right, take care.